inevitably putting you on a path to self hatred.
Parents don't even realize this. Teachers don't even realize this. You don't even realize this. What happens when you forget you're wearing a mask? That's the worst possible place that you can start out as.
The things that hurt you, the things that pain you, and for what reasons they do so, that's who you are.
On a pedestal, but who can actually reach to that standard? Not everybody is meant to. Not everybody should be. This is the second episode of The Art of Me, and today we're going to talk about hating. Ever since you're a kid, you're always taught to live by the expectations of others, whether it be your parents, your family members, the friends around you, what the standard of human development is at your age within your group or within looking at your peers. It really sets up the stage for who you are supposed to be and who you can be. You're put into a box, into concealing anything else than what your identity is allowed to be through those comparisons. And so naturally, as you're growing up, and even in your self worth and self identity, you're made to wear a mask. You're pressurized to live in a society that directs what kind of boundaries you're supposed to have, where your limitations lie. And that's the worst possible place that you can start out as if you want to get close to even loving and accepting yourself. Because how are you supposed to love yourself when you don't even get to explore who you want to be? You're constantly told you're supposed to be like an already given standard, like what your teachers direct you. Um, what are good manners, what are bad manners, what things will get you a reward, what things won't, what things will get you punished. If you speak a decibel above than what is acceptable by one of your parents, then that's a wrong behavior and you should be uh, condemned for it. Or you don't get to have certain hobbies or interests because they are futile or they take away time from things that are important. Those are the kind of things that start happening to you when you are constantly put in a box or a standard, and parents don't even realize this. Teachers don't even realize this. You don't even realize this. What happens when you forget you're wearing a mask? You stop wearing the mask for them. You start wearing it for you to feel safe, to be able to go with the knowing that you're not to the standard because the standard is like the pedestal is put on a pedestal, but who can actually reach to that standard? Not everybody is meant to. Not everybody should be. And because we're constantly conditioned to be a certain way, and it's different with different people in different families in different cultures, but there's always this particular image or a goal or a identity that you're always trying to reach throughout your childhood, that you've been conditioned to do so because that's what you've been taught is good for you, or will get you love, or will get you acceptance by others.
There's a beautiful author and a beautiful concept that she really talks about. The author is Brené Brown, and she talks about how fitting in is the opposite of belonging. You can't be fitting in and belonging together. Either you fit in or you feel like you belong. Because fitting in is literally changing who you are or hiding who you are to be accepted according to the standard. Whereas belonging is where you can be yourself, and no matter who you are, no matter what uh, different aspects or different sides to you are accepted as a whole. You are accepted for who you are without having to change, without having to fit in. And so when you are constantly wearing a mask to try and fit in, to have acceptance and people around you. And you do that for so long and so consistently, there comes a point where you actually forget that you're actually wearing a mask, that who you are with others or in your day to day life is not what you actually want to be, not what you actually feel good being. And sometimes you don't realize that that's where most of your dissatisfaction comes from. Like, you'll be trying to, and I've done this for so long, I would always feel like I'm lagging behind in some way. Because if people around me, you know, like there's always this comparison in your own head. Like you are the person who judges you first, who makes sure that nobody else get a chance to do it. So you do it yourself. And so you change the way you're supposed to be so that you can avoid that judgment. And that's basically wearing a mask, not allowing yourself to do what you actually want to do, but changing yourself in that moment to hopefully be accepted. But that's not what in the long run will give you any satisfaction or anything at all. Because fitting in is, first of all, extremely self deprecating. Because you're basically telling yourself that who I am is not important. Other people are more important. And that's the first thing that comes in your way when it comes to loving yourself, when it comes to understanding who you are, finding your true self. I've heard so many people in my life question, how do you even find who you are, who you truly are? Everybody's wearing a mask, everybody's trying to have a persona to deal with a situation. How you truly know who you are? You can't truly know who you are. But that's the thing. Truly knowing who you are is accepting who you are, accepting when you're wearing that mask, recognizing it and accepting when you can be away from it, finding ways and opportunities to still do some things that are not a part of the persona, or encapsulate all different types of sides that you have within your identity. That's what consists of your identity. It's not just what's behind the mask. It's when you choose to have that mask, when you choose to not have that mask, when you choose to have a different mask, it's all of it. That's who you are. What you choose to do in your day to day lives, what you choose to love, what you choose to hate, who you choose to be. Is it because you want to be accepted or be liked by this particular person or this particular group? Or is it because it heals a part of you that you didn't know, uh, that you don't know why hurts? Is it because there's this innate desire that you cannot slide away from, that you cannot let slide away, that it just calls to you, the things that hurt you, the things that pain you, and for what reasons they do so. That's who you are. What you choose to do when the worst of the worst things happen in your life, when the best of the best things happen in your life, what you choose to do in those moments and why. That's who you are. And people think that you can never truly find that true self, that identity, because most of the times we're so busy trying to live like a constant, you know, differentiation between this is what I want to do and this is what I'm supposed to be doing. I'm supposed to be, you know, smart and intellectual and acing my classes and having an internship and having a job and getting money and being cool, being that girl, being it girl. Everybody on social media is, going on trips. I should be able to do that as well. I should be able to have this products, that products. There's so much that external, this entire narrative of having to design our internal identity through an external projection is so flawed, and it comes from our childhood. And to constantly define what our internal being should be based on what our externality is, that's a complete flawed mindset, because it works the opposite way. In reality, that's not how it works. That's not how it should work. You tell me, if you've only lived around people who had the mentality that being good has only gotten you suffering, so they choose to be, um you know choose to be selfish and constantly put themselves over everybody else, no matter how much the other people love them. Do you think that that should be your reality as well, because that's all you've seen around you? That's your externality. And so fit in, to be able to fit in with your externality, you will have to match that. And so you will change, you will put on a persona, you will be like, yeah, I don't care, I don't care about you, I only care about me. That's not how it's supposed to be, though. If you truly care, if you truly feel like you have the capacity to be able to love people no matter what, then that's who you are. Hiding that away or changing that because of your externality is putting on a mask, and is inevitably putting you on a path to self hatred. I remember very clearly of how much I hated who I was when I was a kid, because I assumed that people around me were hating on me, because I didn't reach up to what they would love, what I thought they would love. That I was not good at math, or that I wasn't slim and extremely sporty, or I wasn't into Marvel or Avengers, or that I wasn't into cars, or that I was, stereotyped into being that girly girl. And if I wasn't, more agile, or more more than what I thought people wanted me to be, then nobody would love me. And those are things that we end up internalizing within ourselves, that make us hate who we are. I couldn't love myself because I thought people won't love me. Why was that? It was impossible to think that somebody would love you when you're fat. And that's absurd. You and I both agree on that. But that was how it felt. And that's something that a lot of people feel. And it's not just about, this one thing, but it could be about anything. That if I'm not, topping my classes, or if I don't have the biggest friend group, or if I'm sitting alone, then maybe people would just not want to be close to me. That they would assume that I don't want to be loved. I don't want to be talked to, or that I'm better than them, that they would judge me. And it's that's how it honestly starts out. It starts out with you realizing that you actually hate yourself. That's how it starts out. The self love journey, the art of finding me, the art of being me, the art of me, starts out with hating yourself. Because the self that you have created first is a self that the people around you have created for you. It's not what you chose. And so it's not you. It's what people deemed that you should be. And if you were great, a rebel at it, and were able to, move past their expectations and, rebel out and be who you are, you would still have this image, oh, I'm not loved because I rebel, but I'm still going to do what I want to do, because no way I'm doing what they say I want to do, and this is what I like. And that's, honestly, a little better, but still it's on the same boat of not completely accepting that who you are deserves to be loved. That again, as a child, tells you that I can never be loved without having to conform to other people's expectations. And that's what makes you hate yourself as well. Because when you think as a child that this is what will get me love, you can never get yourself to love that part of you. That's absolutely like insane, because your identity comes from everything that's around you: your mother, your father, your external family, your surroundings, your friends, your teachers, your school life. All of these things, your culture, all of these things define who you're supposed to be when you're a child. And so that the first thing that happens in your self-love journey is to hate yourself. And while you're hating yourself, you're constantly comparing yourself to others. You're comparing yourself to what she is doing, what he is doing, how he's being appreciated for something. And so if I did this, I would be appreciated too. If I started doing dance classes because this other girl is doing dance classes and everybody loves her for it, and she's doing so good in her school, I could probably do the same and be loved. But if it's not what you truly want, then you'll never be able to find what you're looking for. At the end of the day, we're all trying to be loved and to love others. And that's the core of who we are. That's what I personally believe. And that's what I think is the truth. But to be able to get there is quite an uphill battle. And it's not easy. It's not easy at all. It takes a lot of guts. It takes a lot of acceptance. It takes a lot of reflection, which I think a lot of people think is unnecessary. There's like, I feel like people honestly live in polarities. They're constantly contradicting themselves. They have this huge innate need to find who they are and live by what they want to be who they actually are. But at the same time, they sort of convince themselves that, you know, delving deep into who I am or reflecting upon things is unnecessary, or it's too much of a work, or it's probably never gonna like work out anyway. But that's not the truth. It's literally not. When you first realize what makes you hate yourself and uh what makes you hate yourself so much, and first and you actually delve deep into it and you find out where it stems from, that's where you truly start to realize what actually makes you happy, what actually makes you want to be you. When you first realize that looking into the mirror, who you see is not what you want to be, that's when you start to initiate to find who you want to be. You can't know who you want to be without actually confronting the person that you already are, which is not who you are, which is who you are pretending to be because that's what you think you're supposed to be. It's quite a paradox, honestly. But that's the first step, to hate yourself. And it really is an ongoing process. Like, you find something within yourself to hate in cycles. So, like, you'll find something to hate, you'll confront it, you'll go deep into it, you'll understand that that's not because I actually hate myself, it's because I thought that for this particular reason that I'm supposed to hate myself. So I do. But I guess I can accept myself and love myself because that's who I really am. And if I don't like it, then it's okay. I can change that. I can grow, but I can accept myself. And that's also very important. Hating yourself is the first step. What comes next that a lot of people are not able to do is reflect and accept. You can only accept yourself when you actually reflect on why you hate yourself, on why you're not able to feel good about who you are. When you look into the mirror and see a person that just doesn't feel like you, that doesn't feel like a person who deserves your appreciation or love, or when you think of yourself, you're like, oh, I could never get that job, or I could never get that award, or I could never succeed in that particular thing. Oh, I could never be friends with them. They're so much better than me. Really, when you're hating yourself and then you reflect on who you are, that's when you truly get to the roots of things that allow you to actually break free, be brave, develop self confidence, self worth, and self esteem. So much so that you're so close to actually loving yourself. That's literally how it works. In anybody's life who has gone through the self-love journey will tell you that they began by hating themselves and then realizing that, you know what, fuck it, I'm going to be more stronger than anybody else. I'm going to be confident in who I am. I don't care what anybody else thinks. I'm going to be who I want to be. I think that I'm very valuable and what I have to do is very important. And that takes time. Don't get me wrong, that takes a lot of time. But you can get there. I know because I have been there. I remember the kid who hated being herself, who thought that, who was so dismayed by the fact that she wasn't somebody else in herself. Like, that's the worst place to be in because you feel helpless. You feel like, but there's nothing else that I can do. This is just who I am. And it's like, what else am I going to do? But that's not the truth. The truth is, you can be whoever the hell you want to be. And we're so lucky to live in a world where we are connected with people all over the world who can tell us that, who have lived through it, and who can tell us that exact thing that we need to know is that we can be whoever the hell we want to be. If you want to be the person who loves themselves, who's so confident, who walks into a room and everybody's heads turn, that the entire aura within the room just shifts because you walked in, and that everything in your life, no matter what challenge comes your way, you're able to tackle through it with so much ease that you never question whether I'm worthy of love or whether I'm worthy to be in this position. If you want to be there and you think you would love to be there, then it's a sign you're on the way. That's honestly a huge, huge confirmation that you're meant to go down that rabbit hole of reflecting about why you hate yourself and figuring out how to accept yourself. If you don't try or if you don't want it bad enough, you're not going to be able to do it because this is a thing that you really, really have to want. That needs so many people to tell you that you can do it. And I'm here to tell you can do it. If I can do it, anyone can do it. Trust me. I know a lot of people say it so casually and it feels like they're not being honest, but I'm telling you, it's one of the most gratifying things that you can ever do for yourself to face all that and come out of it at the end of the day being stronger, being more powerful, being more confident. It changes your life. That's honestly, I remember it was like the tipping point of the way that it literally shifts and changes the way that people treat you. I remember it very clearly. Before, people would treat me like I'm some, not girl, like, dummy or very gullible, and like they could mock me around or they could push me around and they could do whatever. They could bully me, they could make fun of me, they could tease me behind my back, they could, just not a good energy. They could disrespect me. That's how it used to be. And so I used to hate myself. But when I shifted that, when I changed that, when I deliberately said, you know what? No, I love myself. I feel like I'm worthy. I know I can change. I this entire narrative of hating myself comes from this thing that I've been taught or I've been told by other people or I've been seeing, and I don't want to resonate with it. I don't want to take it on me. I'm going to be this other person, and that feels more me, and that's who I want to be. That's who I am. That's when everybody else treated me differently. I walked into rooms and met people and made friends that straight up would talk to me for like barely a minute or two, and they'd be like, wow, you're amazing. And that was the first time that ever happened to me. Like, I would literally just talk to somebody and I would just say something, and they'd be like, yeah, I don't like people who say the opposite thing than what you just said. You're so cool for that. And I'd be like, whoa, being me is cool? What? Wow. And when you start doing that, that's when you get incentive to work on yourself more and actually do that more often, like be more committed to the gig, to being yourself. And that's how you find yourself, by hating yourself. And it takes a lot to realize that, oh yeah, I hated myself because of this reason. I didn't actually hate myself. I don't actually hate myself. It takes a lot to say that, because it's very difficult when you're in the position where you actually hate something about you. I remember it very clearly because I have a very difficult relation. I used to have a very difficult relationship with my body, and I constantly felt like the way that everybody around me judged me so hard and conditioned me to believe that there's no way that anybody could love this. And it was like so healing to get out of that, because now you and I are on the same page. Like, the way you were thinking when I said that, I think about it right now. Because, like, what? How can anybody not love you? You're so amazing. Like, to not be limited by just one of the things that you think are your imperfection. Like, people get so insecure about something and they feel like that's the only thing that everybody else is also seeing. But that's not the truth. People are dynamic. They have a huge like array of perception. It's very expansive. It could be narrowed as well. But if you're meeting the right people, they will see you for who you are. They will find something within you that actually matters, that is worthy of love, and give you that because you deserve it. And that will only happen when you believe that you deserve it. I remember having conversations just after that, reflection period, where I met new people and they would tell me, "Oh, you're the most mature person I've ever met in my life. Like, I've never had this kind of conversation with a person your age or anybody." Like, they would appreciate me. They would not look down upon me. They would not look at my insecurities. They would look at the things that I'm good at, that deserve to be loved and appreciated. And that never happened before. Not in the way that mattered. And this is just a reminder to all of us that it's okay to hate ourselves. We're living in a world where there's so much hatred, where people instigate that or initiate that just to feel safe within themselves. A lot of people will make you hate you because they want to feel better about themselves. And that's the worst place to be in. But and that's terrible. But a worse place to be in is when you're doing the same thing for yourself, where you're allowing yourself to hate yourself because that's the only way you feel safe being anything. Because you feel like if you were to do anything else, there could be a chance that that wouldn't work either. And the only hope you have right now of being accepted and loved would go away. That maybe who you truly are is actually not being worth. And that's scary. But I want to tell you, my love, no matter who you are, there's always a person in this world, a part of you that deserves to be so unconditionally loved that no one, not even you, are ever supposed to question whether it's worthy of love. Every single person in this world has that innate identity, internality of compassion or kindness or empathy that's built within us as human beings because we are social beings to love a certain person, to love a person beside us. And there's also an innate part within us that knows how to love ourselves. We just have to let it. Beyond the fears, beyond the doubts, beyond everything that comes in our way that tells us that that's not the truth. But you have to hold on to the truth. stronger than anybody else could. It's a difficult journey. It's not gonna be easy, but it's one that's very, very important for your life. To be able to find who you are is a magic that just makes life so much more beautiful. It gives you strength. It gives you confidence. It gives you the guts to actually go out there and live out your dream. To live this life to the fullest. You only got one life, man. You're not gonna love yourself. That's like, it's not gonna do it. Gotta up your game, man. So that's the message. This was episode 1 of The Art of Me, where we understand that hating me is the first step of creating a masterpiece, of initiating a journey of self exploration and self love. It's like the base coat on the canvas, it sets the foundation, self reflection, and it allows for a wonderful painting to be laid down. I hope you all the best. If you have any questions, any doubts, any more tips, any things that you want to discuss with me, that you want to share, that you want to talk about, list them below in the comment section and I'll be sure to reply to you and connect with you. And I'd love to know if you're able to, take something out of this video, and if you have a similar, experience as mine, just let me know. I'll be so happy to have met you and talk to you. Thank you so much, and